Well, guys, thanks so much for having me as your guest speaker. I've kind of gotten to interact and interject with a few of you guys and learn what it is that you're doing and what you guys are aspiring to be. Just to give myself a quick introduction so you guys know who I am, why, even though I look like I'm the same age as you, I'm credible enough to stand up here and speak for you guys. I started my first business when I was 17. I'm now just about 27, so I opened a guitar shop, and that was in West Bend, Wisconsin, and I have since continued. Are you from West Bend?
Yeah.
Raise the roof for West Bend? No, but so, I've had tons of startups and failures, and then this year I locked in February to a digital marketing agency that will probably within 12 months hit a 7-figure business, and I'm the only employee. So I grew an agency really, really quickly. I scaled it really quickly, and then I started a course, which this guy, that's how he found me, and now he's taking my program and benefiting it from him learning clients. But the way that I got into it is some of the things that I'm going to talk about with you guys, because I think it's going to help you with your journey. But the main things that we're going to first talk about, and these are things that you probably will never learn really behind these walls unless you're talking amongst yourself, because a lot of business school stuff, they like to talk about business and, like he was saying, loans and business plans and all this stuff. And actually, even though that stuff's so important, I hate that stuff. That's the stuff I always hated in the business. And I've met people that love to draw up their business and this and that. I've always been the guy who's like, okay, let me just go do it. Like, I made my first sale before I ever had an LLC. So I did my first $10,000 in sales before I ever had an LLC with this business. So we're going to kind of talk about the why, which I'll explain. Then we'll talk about the who. And then we'll talk about the what and the how. And I've never given this presentation. I'm making it up as I go. I kind of came up with it in my car as I was driving here, so hopefully this all ends up making sense for you guys. But first, talking about the why. I think it's super important, and it's something that's left out of a business model usually, the emotional aspect of why do you want to do what you're doing. Now, I've heard interviews with, what's the dude's name from Shark Tank, Mark Cuban, where he said, he was super excited to make money, and so he drove around in his car looking at these mansions and these houses, and probably similar to Ty Lopez, where they're looking at all of this different stuff and they're thinking, I want this. But I think that's a terrible why, the material items, the material aspects of it. The reason being is because when you're like I was 2 years ago with a baby on the way in Fond du Lac, it's in the negative temperatures, you have no money, and you and your wife are boiling water, putting it in a bathtub, and putting everything in one room with space heaters just because you're trying to make your business work. Money is not going to be a good enough why for you. At that point, you'll say, okay, I need to go get a job. And now I'm not trying to tell anyone to be irresponsible, but when you've been an entrepreneur long enough, you learn how to make it through those situations. You learn how to manage your cash flow and how to just get through them. And so if you can find your why, you'll be much further ahead than I was when I first started doing this business, or when I first started being an entrepreneur. Because whatever you guys are working on right now, your businesses, I think it's awesome. Like, work on your food trucks, work on all your dehydrating the fruits and the things that I've heard you guys doing. But most likely, that is not the business you're going to end up in. Just being honest with ourselves, that's probably not what we're going to end up doing forever. Now, you don't want to say that to yourself because you want to do 100% whatever you're doing, but usually a good entrepreneur, he fails so many times before he actually finds his way. That's just, the fact of it. I mean, you'll learn so many good lessons, throughout the guitar shops. I've owned cell phone repair stores. That was actually what I did for about 5 years before I got into this. I owned one in West Bend and one in Brookfield. And so I'll kind of go through a little bit of that. But if you can find your why, which I did not find until this year, you'll be much further ahead than I ever was. My why came from in February, and I'll go back even further than that. In 2013, 2012, 2013, I opened up a cell phone repair store. And it started just out of home. I was advertising on Facebook. It actually started because I was buying cracked phones, flipping them, selling them on eBay. And I had like between 30 and 50 phones per week coming in at my house. And my wife was like, you got to get those out of the house. Like, these people are driving me nuts. They're showing up at 5 in the morning, they're leaving at 11 o'clock at night. Like, this has to get out of the house. So I opened up a store, went really well, and then I got a little bit greedy and I opened up a secondary store. And I failed to do my market research. I failed on a lot of things. My payroll got out of hand. I was paying over $9,000 a month in payroll. I had way too much in overhead, and I had to fire everyone who worked for me, even at the store that was profitable. And I just went back to working at the West Bend store for a year, getting myself out of debt. I got myself out of debt, and then January I moved into a different location in West Bend this year, and I got news that I have a spinal cord disease. And so that's why I kind of slouch, I kind of like walk like a penguin a little bit, because I'm just the pain that your body's in. And I thought, I can't stand all day in this repair shop. And I also hated what I was doing. I had just gone through all of this stuff, and I was just tired. Like, I no longer enjoyed who my customer was. And that's why I talk about who. Once you know your why, you're who. Now, my why for me in my business model is I have a 1-year-old son. He's 14 months old. I want to be there in the morning when he wakes up, and I want to be there to put him to bed and read him a story. That is my why. I don't care if I have millions of dollars. I don't care what I do. My why is that. And on that note, before we move through, there was a guy who just recently spent quite a bit of time trying to figure out what people want, what entrepreneurs want. And he said, do you want millions of dollars? Do you want freedom, this, that? Almost everyone said they want freedom. So in reality, that's what we want. Some people just want freedom from the 9 to 5, but then they do what I did, where they go open up a store. Now they're slaving in a business. They're still there 9 to 5. It's just they can't shut it off. And so those things did not bring me freedom. So once I figured out my why, I was like, okay, now I need to figure out, when I wake up, who do I want to help? Who do I want to serve? Because waking up and getting 10 messages, is my phone going to be done? Is my iPad almost done? Is that part in? Is this, that? All these different things that I had going on, I hated them. Like, I literally wanted to wake up and just take enough NyQuil to fall back asleep. Like, I hated working in that business. And so if you can figure out who you want to serve, it's way better than figuring out what you want to do and then figuring out who wants to buy it. So a lot of people will reverse that process. What they'll do is they'll say, what would be a product I could do? What do I want to make? What's something that I'm interested in? What's something that I'm passionate about? And they start doing that, and then they figure, okay, who can I sell this to? Who can I sell this product to? And then they might find out, like I did, maybe I enjoyed fixing phones, but I hated who bought them. I hated who bought that service. I did not like that customer. And so by figuring out, like, who do I want to be around all day, that brings you freedom. Like, right now, I wake up, I do my ministry work, I start work around 1 o'clock. I do coaching calls with students who are digital marketing agency owners all day till about 4. I work on my own agency from 4 to 5:30, and then in the evening when my family goes to bed, I spend another 2 hours working on my agency, and I go to bed and I do the same thing. I can do it from anywhere. I mean, sometimes there's a deviation if I'm going and filming content or something for a business, but that's the reality of how my schedule goes. So I love who I'm working with right now. I never wake up and somebody who just landed a $3,000 a month client is mad at me. Like, they just are happy with the results that they get. So then that brings you to, what do they want? Now, some people might think, well, shouldn't you be passionate about the product and not the audience? But I want to give you this illustration, and the girls in the room might appreciate this even more so than the guys. But guys don't walk through the malls and be like, that is a beautiful ring. I'm going to buy that for the girl that I'm going to marry. That would look so good on her hands. Most guys don't think that. We just don't. This guy's like, oh, well. Yeah. I want to say one of the Winkle bosses here is saying, heck no. But, in reality, we don't do that. But when you find somebody that you really like and you really love, and every day I want to wake up and be next to that person, then you go out and you buy what they want. You get them something and you're happy to give it to them. Like, for instance, when I bring something home to my wife, flowers or something, I don't like flowers. I don't care about flowers. I'm not passionate about them. But I love my wife, and so she is going to be happy to receive that product, and I'm happy to give it to her. So I can tell you right now, when I opened my guitar store, I opened it because I was passionate about guitar. I closed it, and I didn't want to pick up my guitar because it felt like work to me. So I was no longer passionate about the guitar. I wasn't passionate about the audience. I was stuck. But when you're passionate about your audience and who it is that you're serving, you can serve to them tons of different things. For instance, this guy here, he was showing me these cool vegan, they're vegan dehydrated products. It's like a health food thing. Now, maybe that's how he starts his audience, but he likes being around those people. He likes talking about nutrition. But that doesn't mean that's the only product he can ever sell them, because if he has an audience that he's created, if he has his who, even if he changes his business a few times, he's got that personal brand, he's got that audience, he can sell to them. You're seeing that on Facebook with influencers, because they will have an audience. And I'll give you an example. Everyone who is in my audience, my little tribe, we'll call it, they're all digital agency owners. They're all about trying to get ahead financially, and they love freedom. Well, I have this app, Robinhood, and it's what I do just to trade stocks and stuff. It's a simple little user-friendly app, but they give you stocks if you invite someone and they sign up. Well, I just put a little message out to my tribe. You might have seen it the other day. I was like, hey guys, so a lot of people ask me, like, what do you do to keep your money working for you? I like to invest in the stocks. I use this app to do it. If you'd like to get started, here's an app where if you download it, you get free stocks. I'm still receiving messages. You receive more free stocks. You receive more free stocks because they're signing up for it. So when you've created an audience, a tribe, you can continue to sell to them. It's almost like a band. You think about like the Red Hot Chili Peppers that have been around forever. Once they created their tribe, their following, and it keeps growing, all they have to do is release a new album. And all of a sudden everyone goes, buys that album. Then they start a new tour. They have all of their shirts, the things like that they sell. So you know your who, you know your why, your who, your what. Now how do you find them? How you say, okay, that's great, Ross, but where is that dream girl, so to speak? Where is the person that I want to be with? It's actually a really easy thing for you to figure out. What you have to do is you almost have to find a pivot point. So let's say that this is you and your audience. And here's what we'll call your pivot point, and then here's them. This is them on their own. You have to figure out what other stuff do they like. For instance, we'll use your product again as an example. The person who is going, and maybe you guys can get interactive on this, the person who is going to like these kinds of products, dehydrated fruits and things like this, what TV shows do you think they might watch? If anybody wants to try to take a guess.
Food Network.
Food Network. Let's try to get even more specific than that.
QVC.
QVC. That's like the most broad one that we'd be able to get. I was going to say that could also do. Joy, we got to find actual brands though. Like Food Network is really broad. We have to get more defined than that. Like for instance, if I'm going to try to find somebody that would want this product, what is another product or another show or something where I would learn about this? How about Dr. Oz, for instance? Dr. Oz might refer about something like this. So we could say, okay, Dr. Oz, we'll put that on there. There's the 30-Day Banana People on YouTube. I don't know if you guys have seen them. You could say, 30-Day Bananas. That's like becoming like a brand. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Amy's. Amy's is a brand that makes vegan soups, vegan frozen meals, vegan things like that. We could say Amy's is something that someone like this would want. You could just actually put vegan, because even though it's going to fit in the algorithm, I know that this is technically vegetarian, so you could also put that as well. And there's a tool on Facebook called, and you guys might want to take note of this, it's called Insight Tools, Insight Audience Tools. And you can go on in there and you can actually put anything, and they'll give you lists and lists of things that those people would want that you also have. So now what you have is you have a general idea of an audience, and this is actually your pivot point that you would have. So what I do is this is kind of how I make money for a living. I create this list, these audiences for people. And then I create amazing content. So maybe we create a really good video, kind of like the Harmon Brothers style, where like the Poopery, where the Squatty Potty, where you guys have seen those, they're like viral videos. So maybe you create really good content. And what you do is we'll say this is your tribe, and you run Facebook ads or YouTube ads, whatever, and you tell Facebook, I want to put this product in front of anyone that likes this stuff here. And so what happens is those people start liking it, and then what you do is you get them into what's called a funnel. And that's how you do lead generation, which I'm going to show you how a funnel works now. I just got to figure out how to where this eraser is. Well, yeah, erase this. So does that make sense so far? Does anybody have any questions about this in case I'm moving too fast? Never done this before for people. Okay, so now that we have an audience, we know who we're going to put it in front of, we have to send them through a process. See, the old school way, the old style that you would do this is you'd physically have to walk into businesses, shake their hands, try to get in front of them, and I actually still like that style for digital marketing agencies, but it's not scalable for brands like this, and that's how you form a relationship with them, that's how you sell to them. Well, now it's so much easier. Because all you have to do is focus on building your tribe and getting some new people into that tribe every day, and it's just going to keep growing. So I'll show you how we do that. Well, I guess we'll say here, this is your tribe. Maybe your tribe is a Facebook group. That's how I actually have mine going right now, through a Facebook group. It's a private Facebook group that they get into, and we're going to funnel our ideal client into that Facebook group. And so that way, because we don't want non-buyers in our tribe. If we have people who are not interested in this stuff, if we have people who are eating, hamburgers and hot dogs, and they're those people that you see walking out of the grocery store with like cases of Mountain Dew, and you're like, oh my God, like how are they going to do all that? We don't want those people in the group buying this stuff because they're not going to value it. Because my guess is this stuff is going to cost way more than what the cost of it is. So we just want the kind of people in here who are going to buy our stuff. So how do we do that? We create a funnel, and we're going to send them through different steps. Now, a funnel is just landing pages. I would suggest for any of you guys to write down the brand ClickFunnels. It's an amazing community with tons of free content for learning how to ClickFunnels. I'll write it down for you. And if you look me up on Facebook, I'll write my name here. I have a lot of links and stuff, so that way my students can use it. It's a really long last name there. So ClickFunnels is just, but there's a lot of softwares that are like ClickFunnels. I choose that one because of the community behind it. Once again, I'm part of their tribe, and they keep pushing out free content and information that helps educate and keep me sharp. So anyways, what our goal is we're going to create a process. So we want to drive traffic. A lot of people don't understand, like they'll just be like, oh, I'm going to buy traffic, shove it through this website, and I hope I make money, like they pray for it. And it's not how it works. So the way that you profit from traffic is through what's called the value ladder. So for instance, with something like this, he might do something like a free plus shipping. So he might say, hey, would you like a free sample of our dehydrated fruit? All you have to do is pay shipping, and we'll send you a free whatever. So now he gets them in on a free plus shipping. But once they get into it and they order it, he says, hey, how would you like to get one of each flavor for only $20? And it's like a bump on the page. And so now they're like, oh, okay, I'll take that. And then he says, wait, but how would you like instead to get a subscription to where now you're going to pay us $50 a month, but we're going to send you X amount, or $40 a month. So then he gets them in on his subscription plan, and then maybe he even has something even higher, up on his value ladder. But the whole idea is he gets them in on the free traffic. You guys have wondered at times, like, why would people give away free stuff online? It's because it works. I have, for instance, a webinar that has profited over $82,000 this year, and it's from a free web class where I teach people a cold calling script for free to help them land clients. They get into it, and then they start using that script, and they're like, oh my God, it's working, I'm landing client trials. And then they come back and they buy my program. So giving away free stuff is one of the best ways to get people into your tribe and get them into your funnel. I don't know, how many people have heard of Grant Cardone? This guy knows who Grant Cardone. You guys gotta start learning some of these entrepreneurs out there, the ones who are doing these self-venture sort of things. Anyways, Grant Cardone, really, really rich guy. And he was at an airport, and there was a shoe shiner. And he said to him, how's the business going? Are you making a lot of money? The guy says, no, nobody has money for me to do this. And he said, well, I'll tell you, you're charging $20, $25. This is what I want you to do. Put free shoe shine in under a minute. And the guy's like, how do you make money with a free shoe shine? He says, trust me, I'm a rich guy. I know what I'm doing. So he puts this sign, free shoe shine under a minute. People start coming through and doing it. And every time they did the shoe shine, they dropped $10, $20 in his little tip bucket. So all of a sudden he's like, oh my God, I'm getting all this money for offering something for free. I've literally made my living this year giving things away. Doesn't make sense to a lot of people, but giving things away drives extreme amount of traffic. But the problem with that traffic is it's not always real narrowed and targeted. Like, it can be based off the offer, but it's not enough yet to get them into your tribe. So like this free plus shipping, like there's gonna be some people, and you just account for it, that they're just gonna take the one free, you're gonna make no money on it, you're gonna just end up giving it away. You're gonna break even pretty much on it, and you plan for that. But the ones who do come through and make money, or walk up your value ladder, they become buyers, you end up making good money off of those people. So you get them into your funnel, and on your front page, you give them whatever you offered. Because you guys have probably seen it where like somebody offers you something, and then like, but first we want you to take this quiz and this and that, and you're like, screw that, and you just exit all on out of it. You don't want to have to mess around with that. So you get them into a funnel, you give them whatever it is that you've offered them. Then on the next page, you go ahead and make them another offer. And on the next page, you can make them another offer. They've already paid for these, so now it's kind of like Vistaprint, where they keep bumping you up on Vistaprint. They keep saying, order now and get this, order now and get that. And then on the end, you just send them into your group. You send them into your tribe. You're developing now a list. You're creating a list. Once you have a list, you can sell to that list over and over and over again. So like this process right here, for me, it cost me about $4,000 a month for me to be able to keep funneling people into my group, keep gaining clients, and keep landing new students. But once I have them in my group, I can sell them over and over again. For instance, I made a marketing agency themed website that they can just download right into their ClickFunnels group. And once they download it into their ClickFunnels, it's a website pre-built for them. It's a $37 product. I made it a couple weeks ago. I launched it, and now I've sold like 220 of them. And I only did the work once. It's just a digital product, so they can just keep downloading it. And I sold it right into that same group. And so I didn't have to pay for the advertising a secondary time because I already had them on a list. So that's how lead generation works. And if you're trying to think of a business to get into, it's a great business for you to get into now, because even if later on you decide, I want to do this, I want to start this company, the knowledge that you gain through this will help you with your business. I wish I would have known how to do this when I owned my cell phone repair shop. I wish that I would have known how to do all this stuff when I had my guitar store, because I would have been way more successful. So it's funnels and lead generation are the way to get clients. People say, oh, I need a really good website. No, you don't. Because the problem with a website is they can click into it, and they've got all these links. That's not a funnel, because they can click here, they can click there, and they can say, okay, I see what they're all about. I don't really need to talk to anyone. I don't need to give them my information, and they can back right on out of it. But with a funnel, when you're adding people into your tribe and you're building your list, to get their offer, they have to give you their information. And that gets them into the next page. So every time you're upping the value of what you're going to give to them, but they're giving you something back in exchange for it. And so you start that exchange right away with them. So this is only possible if you know who your audience is If you know your why, it's going to help you, but really if you know who it is that you want to work with. And even if you don't know what you want to do for a living one day, I would urge everyone in this room to start to figure out who they want to work with, even if they don't know what it's going to be that they're going to serve them, and start building a tribe, even if it's organically. Start going live, start going, on YouTube, building an audience, because one day when you do figure out what it is that you want to sell to them, you'll have a really cool tribe to be able to sell to them over and over and over again. So does anybody have any questions about lead generation or for their businesses or how they can use this for their businesses?
What landing page site do you use?
I use ClickFunnels. ClickFunnels, like I was saying, it's an awesome program because it allows you to really quickly throw together pages. So like you can use WordPress and it's probably cheaper, but it just takes more time. The tools on it are it take a little bit more to implement. I used to use WordPress for everything before I got into this. Now the downside to ClickFunnels is it doesn't rank very well at all through SEO. But I don't rely on SEO for my marketing. I do everything pretty much direct because SEO can change overnight. All of a sudden you wake up and everything's different. To where with direct marketing you can always send people through it. So that's why I use ClickFunnels. Now, I do want to let you guys know if you guys are interested in like how can we learn more about this digital marketing stuff, because I only had a little bit of time to work on it. I have a free group that everyone's welcome to join on Facebook. It's called Client, I'll write it down. Client Acquisition Mastery. I don't even know if I said it. You don't have to have good grammar to be a digital marketer. Just run it all through Grammarly. I never went to college. So anyways, you can go there and get more information. Also, the name of my marketing agency is called Social Main Street Marketing. But the website is socialmainstreet.com. But if you're interested in starting an agency, you can go through my webinar, which is thescript.socialmainstreet.com. And Main Street is just ST. It's not actually spelled out street. So if anybody's interested in that. Well, guys, thanks so much for letting me do my little spiel. Hopefully it was helpful. I don't know if it was something that you guys will feel you can utilize, but take what you can out of it. Everyone's got a golden nugget here or there, but I'll hand the floor back over to Hannah.
Thanks, Ross.
No problem.